If you wake up at 3 in the morning for no reason, your heart fluttering, your legs cramping, your mind racing, and you find your blood sugar is somehow higher first thing than it was before bed, I need you to hear this. Those are not five separate problems. They are very often one quiet problem wearing five different masks. And it is a mineral your blood test almost certainly told you was normal. I'm Dr. Sarah Lane, and after years of watching adults over 60 get treated for everything except the actual cause, I want to walk you through the five ordinary kitchen foods that quietly rebuild it. So let me tell you why this one slips past nearly everyone, including good, careful doctors. The mineral is magnesium, and the trouble starts with how we test for it. When your doctor checks magnesium, the standard order is a serum test, a measure of the magnesium floating in your blood. But here is the part almost nobody explains. Only about 1% of the magnesium in your entire body is in your blood at all. The other 99% lives inside your cells, inside your bones and muscles and nerves, where the real work happens. Your body fights hard to keep that 1% in the blood looking normal, even when the cells themselves are running dangerously empty. So the test comes back fine, and you get told everything's okay, while the deficiency keeps right on causing trouble underneath. And let me explain why those middle of the night symptoms hang together. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Magnesium is the quiet conductor behind more than 300 chemical reactions in your body. It's the mineral that calms your nervous system so you can stay asleep, that steadies the electrical rhythm of your heart so it doesn't flutter, that relaxes the smooth muscle in your blood vessels so your pressure can dip the way it's meant to overnight, and that lets insulin do its job moving sugar out of your blood and into your cells while you rest. So when you're low, all of those jobs get done a little worse at the same time. You wake at 3, your calf seizes, your heart skips, and your morning sugar reads higher than your bedtime number because the machinery that should have lowered it overnight ran short on its most basic part. One missing mineral, 5 symptoms. That's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. And after 60, that deficiency builds faster than it used to. Your stomach naturally makes less acid with age, a condition called atrophic gastritis, and you need that acid to pull magnesium out of food, so absorption can drop by roughly 30% compared with when you were younger. On top of that, 3 of the most common prescriptions in this age group quietly drain it. Metformin for blood sugar, acid reducers known as PPIs, and water pills, the thiazide diuretics for blood pressure, all increase how much magnesium you lose through your kidneys every single day. Add in the simple fact that chronic stress raises cortisol, and cortisol flushes magnesium right out of your cells. And you can see how an ordinary life after 60 slowly empties the tank without ever showing up on a routine blood panel. Here's the number that should stop you. National nutrition surveys have consistently found that most American adults over 60 take in less magnesium than the recommended daily amount. That's not a rare problem in a handful of people. That's most of us. The good news, the genuinely good news, is that you can begin rebuilding this with 5 foods that are probably in your kitchen right now. Let me give them to you in order with exact amounts and the catch on each one. Food number 1 is pumpkin seeds, the green ones, sometimes labeled pepitas. And these earn the top spot, honestly, because ounce for ounce, they are the single richest magnesium food you can keep in a jar. Just 1 ounce, a small handful, about 2 tablespoons, delivers roughly 156 milligrams of magnesium. To put that in perspective, the daily target is 320 milligrams for women and 420 for men. So that one little handful covers more than a third of your day in a few bites. But magnesium is only half of why I love them. Pumpkin seeds also nudge up a hormone called adiponectin, which your fat cells release to improve insulin sensitivity in plain terms. It helps your body handle blood sugar more smoothly, which is exactly why that 3 a.m. number matters so much. They also happen to be rich in zinc and in tryptophan, the building block your body uses to make the calming, sleep-friendly signals at night, so they're quietly working on 2 of your symptoms at once, the blood sugar and the broken sleep. Now here is the credit and then the catch. The credit, they're a near-perfect snack, shelf-stable, no cooking required, easy to keep in a jar by the kettle. The catch is in how most of them are sold. The heavily roasted, oily, salted varieties you find at the front of the store have often had their delicate fats oxidized by high heat, which works against the very benefit you're reaching for, and the added salt undoes the blood pressure help. So buy them raw or toast them yourself gently in a dry pan, low and slow, just until they puff and turn fragrant. Don't let them scorch. A small handful a day, a couple of tablespoons, is plenty sprinkled on yogurt, stirred into oatmeal, scattered over a salad, or eaten straight from your palm in the afternoon, and you've already covered a third of your magnesium before you've thought about the rest of the day. Food number 2 is cooked spinach, and I want you to notice that I said cooked, because that one word changes everything. 1 cup of cooked spinach gives you about 157 milligrams of magnesium right alongside the pumpkin seeds. Spinach matters because magnesium is the spark plug for over 300 enzyme systems in your body, including the very ones that escort glucose out of your bloodstream and into your muscle cells overnight. That is the machinery that should be keeping your morning blood sugar low while you sleep, and it cannot run on empty. So why cooked, not raw? This is the part that surprises people. Raw spinach is loaded with compounds called oxalates that bind tightly to magnesium and to calcium and block your body from absorbing much of either one. You can eat a big raw salad and absorb only a fraction of the mineral it contains. Gentle heat breaks those oxalates down and frees the magnesium so your body can actually use it. And as a bonus, cooking shrinks the leaves down, so a cup of cooked spinach packs in far more of the green than a cup of raw ever could. Here's the credit and the catch. Cooked fresh or frozen spinach. Wonderful. And frozen is honestly just as good as fresh, sometimes better, because it's frozen at peak ripeness and it's already washed and waiting in your freezer for the nights you don't feel like cooking. But canned spinach sitting in salty brine is a different story. It can lose around 30% of its magnesium into that liquid you pour down the drain. And the sodium left behind works directly against the blood pressure benefit you came for. So reach for fresh or frozen, give it a quick saute in a little olive oil and garlic, or just a minute in the steamer, and a cup most days does quiet, real work on that overnight blood sugar. Food number 3 is the avocado, and this one is about teamwork. Half a medium avocado carries about 29 milligrams of magnesium, not the biggest number on this list, I'll be honest, but magnesium here travels with a generous dose of potassium, and those two minerals work together to relax your blood vessels and gently lower your blood pressure overnight when it matters most for your heart and your sleep. There's a bonus too. The oleic acid, the smooth fat that makes avocado what it is, helps stimulate a gut hormone called GLP-1, the same hormone the newer diabetes medications are built to mimic. Your body can make a little more of it for free from real food. Here's the credit and the catch on this one. Eating avocado on its own is lovely, and the fiber alone, nearly 7 grams and a half, is good for you, but its quiet strength is as a swap. When you spread half an avocado where you'd normally use butter on your morning toast, or fold it into your eggs in place of the cheese, the healthy fat, and the fiber slow how fast that whole meal turns into blood sugar, which blunts the spike that would otherwise hit an hour later. So I don't want you to just add avocado on top of everything. I want you to let it replace something. That's the difference between a food that helps and a food that simply adds calories. Half an avocado a day used as a swap, and you've upgraded the meal without giving up a single thing you actually enjoy. Food number 4 is black beans, and beans are the most underrated item on this entire list. Half a cup of cooked black beans gives you about 60 milligrams of magnesium, but they bring a second gift along with it: resistant starch. That's a type of fiber your own body can't break down, so it travels all the way to your colon and feeds the good bacteria there. Those bacteria fermented into a compound called butyrate, which calms inflammation overnight, the same low-grade, body-wide inflammation that quietly drives so much of what goes wrong after 60. And the blood sugar payoff is measurable. Research on regular legume eating has consistently found a modest but real drop in fasting blood sugar over a few months. That is a real, documented shift from a humble bean. Now the credit and the catch. Beans cooked from scratch are inexpensive, excellent, and they freeze beautifully, so you can make a big pot on a Sunday and have them ready all week. Canned beans are perfectly fine too, and a huge time saver, but you must rinse them, drain them in a colander, and run cold water over them for a good 30 seconds until the foam is gone. That thick liquid they sit in is heavy with sodium, and that sodium directly counteracts the potassium and magnesium benefit you're working so hard for. It's a small step that quietly protects everything else you're doing. So rinse well and half a cup a day stirred into a soup, tossed in a salad, mashed onto toast, or served as a simple side does beautiful, quiet work on both your blood sugar and the inflammation underneath it. Food number 5, and I saved a treat for last, is dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher. Yes, truly. 1 ounce of good dark chocolate delivers about 64 milligrams of magnesium, and it brings along plant compounds called flavonols that improve the function of the lining of your blood vessels. That means better blood flow right down to your legs and feet, which I know is a worry for so many of you, and something we've talked about before on this channel. There's a blood sugar angle as well. Research suggests that high cacao dark chocolate can gently improve fasting blood sugar and insulin sensitivity compared with milk chocolate, which is mostly sugar. A food that gives back instead of taking. But this is the credit and the catch that I need you to take seriously, because it's the easiest one on the whole list to get wrong. The credit only holds at 1 ounce a small square or two, roughly the size of two of your fingers, not the bar, and it only holds at 70% cacao or higher. The moment you drop below 70%, the ratio flips, and you're eating mostly sugar with a little chocolate flavor, and that sugar reverses every single benefit I just described and then pushes your blood sugar in the wrong direction. So portion it like the almost medicinal food it is. 1 ounce, 70% or darker, eaten slowly, ideally after a meal rather than on an empty stomach. A little tip plain, unsweetened cocoa powder stirred into your morning oatmeal, or a warm drink gives you the same flavonols with essentially no sugar at all. Done with care, dark chocolate is a genuine gift to your blood vessels. Done carelessly, it's just dessert wearing a health halo. Now, before we recap, I have to give you the other half of the truth, because foods alone won't win this fight if something is quietly draining the tank faster than you can fill it. So let me name the magnesium saboteurs, the everyday habits that work against every bite of food on this list. Coffee is a mild diuretic. Each cup makes you lose roughly 4 milligrams of magnesium in your urine, so 2 or 3 cups a day quietly add up over a week. I'm not asking you to give up your morning coffee. I'm asking you to know that it's part of the math. Alcohol is worse. It can triple how much magnesium you flush out, which is one reason a few drinks can leave you waking at 3 in the morning, heart racing. Ultra-processed foods, the boxed, bagged, long shelf life things, carry phosphate additives that bind dietary magnesium and carry it right out of you before you can absorb it, so they take while pretending to give. And then there's the supplement trap, which I see constantly, and I want to save you the money and the frustration. The cheapest, most common form sitting on the shelf is magnesium oxide, and your body absorbs only about 4% of it. 4%. That's also exactly why it tends to send people running to the bathroom. The rest of it never makes it into you, it just rushes through. The forms that actually get absorbed at 80% or better and that are far gentler on your stomach are magnesium glycinate, which is also wonderful for sleep, and magnesium malate, which many people prefer for daytime energy. I'm not telling you to start anything on your own. I'm telling you exactly what to ask your doctor about, so that if you do supplement, you're not throwing your money away on a form that barely works. So let's bring it all together. Pumpkin seeds, 1 ounce, your single richest source. Cooked spinach, 1 cup, and cooked is non-negotiable. Avocado, half a one, used as a swap for butter. Black beans, half a cup, rinsed if they're canned. And dark chocolate, 1 ounce, 70% or darker, no exceptions. 5 ordinary foods, every one of them in most grocery stores, every one of them working on the same quiet problem from a slightly different angle. Small swaps, big difference, and you can start with a single one of these tomorrow morning. Now, the most important part, I am not telling you to stop any medication on your own. Please don't ever do that. But if you take metformin, a water pill, or an acid reducer, I want you to bring one specific request to your next appointment. Ask your doctor to check your magnesium with an RBC magnesium test. That's the red blood cell test that looks inside the cells, not the standard serum test that only sees that misleading 1% in your blood. That one phrase, RBC magnesium, can change the entire conversation. I've put together a free quick reference guide with the exact serving sizes for all 5 foods, simple notes on the best time of day to eat each one, and a printable shopping list you can take to the store. You'll find the link in the description below and pinned in the comments. Go grab it. It costs you nothing. And I genuinely love to know which of these 5 are you already eating. Tell me in the comments because somebody scrolling by today needs to see that this is easier than they feared. A gentle, honest reminder before you go, everything I've shared is for education, not personal medical advice, and your magnesium is something to confirm with the right test and discuss with your own doctor before changing your diet or supplements, especially if you're on medication. If this helped you understand your body a little better today, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed so the next person waking up at 3 in the morning wondering what's wrong finds their way here too. Take good care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.